Thank you for listening today on Revealing Wholeness, sponsored by Infinity Whole Health. Check out our website at infinityWholeHealth.com, where we are revealing the eternal in each individual, the infinite in the individual. The creativity is made manifest. Limitation is let go. Now, here's your host, Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson at Infinity Whole Health. Allergies seem to be plaguing us at this time. And it's not that they're simple or that there's a quick fix to any of them, but I'm going to go through the process of how do we begin to understand why we have allergies, what will some of the treatments do for us or to us or not do, and what can we expect a body that's performing better to maybe have allergies or not have allergies, and how are food allergies going to relate? So this is part one, and we're going to get knee deep into all allergies and aspects of allergies, and we're going to go for it. So if you have questions, if you've just signed on, then please in the chat let us, give us some comments, give us some feedback. If you have questions, please put them there. I will get to them at the end. And again, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hang in here for 2 weeks from now. That'll be the 27th of May, and we're going to do part 2, and we're going to get into food allergies. And so I'm going to give you a quick bite of that. We're going to talk about the 4 big food allergies and the lesser 4, and what happens when we remove those from our diet, and what can other allergies, happen when we do that. How do our other seasonal allergies or pollen type allergies get better when we eliminate foods that maybe we're allergic to? Also, how to spot foods that you're allergic to, how to test with and without them, and what to expect. What's a good time frame? All that we're going to get into in part 2. So in part 1 tonight, it's all about seasonal allergies. So let's get into it. Now, traditionally, drugs are used for allergies. They'll use antihistamines. They'll use, shots. They'll try to do anything and everything that they can to at least help the body hide the symptoms or the fact that it cannot handle pollen or whatever it is that it's experiencing. And so at this point, let's kind of define an allergy. An allergy is when a body no longer is able to manage the inflammation that it has. So let me say that again. When your body has so much debris piled up, it no longer can manage the amount of inflammation, and now all of our tissues are swollen and irritated. So when a pollen comes in that's kind of mildly irritating to our throat or nasal passages or what have you, it now creates a full-fledged reaction because we're right on this edge of a histamine response. And now that just kicks it over, and now we have a full histamine response. I've got watery eyes, runny nose, sore throat maybe a sinus headache because it's so irritating and the pressure is so great. And we're going to talk about why those things are, but that's an allergy. So if, a couple hundred years ago, we didn't see allergies like this. Now we get more and more allergy symptoms. Man, it is a hot market. And so again, why are all these allergies running around? Well, part of it is that our cells are so laden and filled with debris and toxins and chemicals that this is kind of the existence that we now all have. So I think in one of my podcasts not too long ago, I talked about there are literally 40,000 chemicals in our environment now. And they make roughly 2,000 a year, and that's just conservative estimates. And so guess who has to handle all those chemicals? You do. I do. And so is there a limit to that? Well, yeah, I think we reached it a long time ago, and now we're seeing a lot more symptoms. So we want to backtrack a little bit and say, okay, so if that's true, I have seasonal allergies. I'm miserable. It's now like every season is the season for allergies. What do I do? How do I get beyond it? And so we want to explore that topic too as we go through this process. But ultimately, I want to finish up with suppression because there are even holistic providers like myself out there that will choose to do suppressive type medicine with herbs and other things that, are fine when we're having an emergency response like that. We probably need to do something. but I've always got my eye on the ball long term. I want to make sure that I'm doing something that's going to inevitably make what I have to work on today for a symptom irrelevant for the future. I don't want that to be an issue anymore. And so as we go through this process, be very cautious. Are you looking for more suppressive type care or more expressive type care? And the difference is suppression is trying to get something bad that we don't want and just say, go away. Imagine if you're a young child and your parents just constantly shut you up. How good of an existence is that? Well, it's not a great one. And that's kind of our body. Our body is saying, hey, I'm telling you what's going on inside of me if you'll listen. And yet we're just saying, no, 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 shut up, shut up, shut up. And that's not a real good fix. In fact, it's not a fix at all. But it is a temporary, at least, help in a great time of need. So I want to move beyond that into expressive care where we listen to a body and say, okay, I'm getting what you're saying. So when we have sinus stuff and headaches, we can almost assuredly say with greater than probably a 99% probability that we have a massive liver issue going on. And so we ought to be thinking, okay, how do I help my liver detoxify my blood better? In past live broadcasts and podcasts, I've talked about liver numerous times and how the sinuses are an overflow chamber for liver congestion. When my liver cannot clean the blood just starts filling up our sinuses with stuff. Then they start draining out in the back of our throat and now creating things like sore throats, irritation on the throat, constant unhappiness. Yes, that is an expression, and no, we don't like it, but ultimately we need to understand it so that we can say, here's the obvious fix as we go through this process. So why does the liver become backed up? Why is the liver not performing? Well, we already talked about there's 40,000 chemicals in our diet, and our liver has to detoxify all those things. Do we think the liver just magically has everything it needs to do that? No. It gets what it needs from your diet. And if your diet and my diet isn't sufficient, well, now I start using up all my stores in the liver, and now as those stores go down, I can no longer detoxify my blood like I used to. Now I get things like migraines, regular headaches, sinus trouble. I'm constantly congested. I'll hear people out in the public constantly clearing their throat. I just keep thinking, you've got some food allergies and you got some liver problems. I wish I could help you, but you might be offended if I go up to you and tell you that I think your diet might need some improvement. But for those of you out there that are wanting to hear about allergies, maybe you take that with a little bit better input and say, you know what, okay, maybe it's not so great. And I'm not a quick change person. How do I do this incrementally? Well, beginning to eliminate chemicals in your diet is a great first step. So going more organic, not eating so many processed foods. Every time we process a food, we're heating it up and altering it. And that heating and altering process kills enzymes. It destroys them. It destroys vitamins. The delicate mineral that's hooked to a protein that's its carrier that we eat and ingest and get that mineral is now broken. And those minerals tend to glob onto each other, forming salts like stalactites and stalagmites, not like the salt, like table salt that we can break up and use. So these become salts that are kind of impenetrable to the body. To give you a classic example, calcium in the form of limestone is calcium carbonate or chalk. Really abundant on the planet, but you can only absorb maximum 8% if your digestion was immaculate, which few people on the planet is. And so that's a salt, and that's a really tough one to digest. We're going to get to calcium in just a moment due to allergies, which will be kind of fun. And so allergies, we want to help the body. We want to see that we've got this toxic load, and we've got a lot of cells that are now damaged and inflamed. So now as we start helping this liver with things like kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cruciferous vegetables, which is what I just labeled a bunch, but a lot of other vegetables, whether it's greens, whether it's bitter herbs, like we do a salad where they're more bitter greens rather than just regular head lettuce or romaine. Doing things like beets, phenomenal. Don't cut the tops of the beets off and throw them away. Eat them. Chop up a beet leaf finely and put it in your salad. You hardly know what's there. But yet that's the nutrients that we're looking for to start giving to the liver a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin E, a lot of betaine, and other natural B vitamins that, we produce very small amounts in our bodies if we're working really well, but we need a lot from our diet. And so all those vegetables help us detoxify. And then that wonderful vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin C also goes to the cells and begins to help them clean out so that they aren't so inflamed and irritated and swollen that now they're reacting to all the pollen that we breathe. So let's take this one step back. We talked about the liver. We talked about vegetables. But let's say all these tissues are inflamed on my throat and nasal passages. Well, why? Why are they not cleaning out? Why are they inflamed? Cells in our body are very close to each other. They have a matrix between them. And they're very close to capillaries, or the very tiniest blood vessels in our body, to get oxygen, to get food in, and pass waste products back out of the cell, and now get it to the blood and get it removed to the liver so that the liver can get it out of our body, to the gut, and then we go to the bathroom. That's how it works. So if I have cells that are continually pushing all their garbage out, it's like you and I living in our house. Let's imagine that for a moment, you look out your front door of your house, and it's kind of sloped down towards the street. And the street is not a street, it's a river. And all your garbage has to go that way because there's no garbage truck coming by. But instead, you just keep pushing the garbage out your front door. So finally it starts piling up in front of your front door. And now you can't hardly open the front door, but you get enough to just sneak it out the side and shove it out. Eventually, you open the door and now garbage tries to come in and you keep pushing it out, and eventually you can't even open your door. So now garbage starts piling up in your house. Are you getting the picture? How good does your house work? How good does your house smell? How good does everybody function in your house with that kind of garbage? Not real well. And so now we have sick cells that are inflamed. So that inflammation now is not getting out, it's just more inflammation. Imagine your attitudes around the house with garbage all around. In the beginning, you're wearing, some type of handkerchief and trying to use oils to try to make it smell better. But after a while, even that doesn't work. And now attitudes and emotions are high and they are hot all the time in the house. You're angry. Well, that's your cells. They're not happy being that inflamed, just like you would not be. And so our goal now is to be able to eat those foods that are more pure, that are helping us purify our body. Now, some of you out there may be saying, yeah, that sounds a whole lot of work. I'm not in for that. Okay, then take a suppressive drug. What the suppressive drug, the histamines that your body's now producing, the antihistamines, just tell all the cells, listen, you don't keep sending this histamine out. You take it all back. So start shoving the garbage in your front door. So now we got these little police that are running around neighborhoods shoving garbage into houses when you're trying to get rid of it. And so that's an antihistamine. And so it's not a very good, effective tool, though in the beginning, it works quite well until the cells get so dirty, so unhappy, that now other problems start to happen. And that's when we get disease processes in cells. And we wonder, how did I get this diabetes? Or how did I get this liver disease? Or how did I get a fatty liver? Or how did my kidneys now, why I know I need dialysis now? Why is my heart getting really bad and I'm bruising easily and I'm getting, high blood pressure and I'm getting more headaches. And now they tell me that I may have an aneurysm in my brain or an aneurysm in my aorta. All these things are coming because your body isn't cleaning out. So, should we go to work on your body? Yeah, we probably should. That's if you want to keep it. If you're happy just letting it keep going and you're okay with the symptoms, go for it. But for me, I think I'm going to work on my body a little bit. So let's say we clean up diet and you're like, hey doc, this is going kind of slow. I want something to help me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on your liver. So anything up here, I'm going to work with a product called Antranex, which is beef liver enzymes. And those beef liver enzymes, they open up the blood vessels of the liver and help it clean your blood faster. A note to some of you with migraine headaches. You will find that product quite